Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command, World War II World at War, with our first ever PvP against SirTravis. We've gotten the turn back from him, and I wonder what he's going to do, if he's going to push any more offenses. Well, he immediately went for that submarine with exactly the correct kind of ships he could have gone for, naturally. He just desperately wants to kill something. I broke his blockade and he went full offensive. The thing is, he did 4 damage to this sub, okay, but I still have my bombers there. So I don't know, why would you, okay, well, we'll see. He's running, oh, I see. Okay, so he ran the American subs away, naturally. He's trying to use normal bombers on an oil field. That's not how normal bombers work. He's running units away from Moscow now that it's fallen. Let's see, he's trying to do some bombing on the front line by Stalingrad, dealing 2 damage to our plane and our core. He's going on a rather large offensive. Oh, no, I guess it was a medium-sized offensive. We'll see. He's still trying that battleship bombardment. I am unsurprised to see an American ship has showed up near Peru. That's why I upgraded the core on Peru, because I feel like he might go on the offensive there. I feel like he's just striking out in every direction he can. Portugal 7% towards the Allies. That maritime bomber he struck out with has suffered attrition losses, and we are raiding like 100 MPPs worth from him. Okay. We see destroyer in the North Sea, an anti-air near Joensuu, a core near, well, in India, an anti-tank in Gorky, carrier in Newcastle, fighters, a core in Urumqi. That one just spawned. Okay. Quite interesting to see his attempts to just strike outwards. He has pointed out to me this. Honestly, like the entire time I've played this game, I have had absolutely no idea what the fuck this graph was, ever, in my entire life. And he pointed out to me that this is the amount of units that everybody has. I didn't know we could see this information. And he's really terrified of Germany, who has 93, compared to, you know, like, everybody else. Because I just have so many garrisons and other things. They look really inflated. I had no idea what this was until literally right now, and I've played this game for probably hundreds of hours now, so that's great. Now, unfortunately, this medium bomber here can't reach out very far, and I don't remember exactly where this was, but I think it was a little bit further than that. It's a good time to get this long-range aircraft upgrade on this medium bomber, I think. And let's also not forget to do our rocketing. Always have to keep rocketing. Take away some MPPs from him. There you go. It sounded like his ships moved, so I don't know if there's any still remaining here, and honestly, without some sort of ghost, I don't really know where the hell any of it was, so I'm just gonna attack a random spot. Boop. Well, alright, so I guess he didn't move stuff, maybe. 6 damage to that motor torpedo boat. We took 1 damage to the plane. I don't even know if that was worth it. I was hoping to hit, like, a destroyer or something. What does a motor torpedo boat cost again? I know they're very cheap. They're 75, but if they have an upgrade, they could cost more. It definitely costs more for him than, say, that cost for the bomber. Let's get these subs moving south. Right here. Just going to where they can upgrade. I guess just staying along the raiding line here. Let me take the route that I know is safe to stick entirely on that side. They could have one go eastwards eventually. Couldn't really reach that too easily, but we'll stay raiding for now. I'll get this one headed west as well, and kind of going up their trail, and then put this one on hunt, get it going west, and go down that trail. So this is going to be this random amalgamation of, like, I don't know, submarines that maybe will draw his attention. I'm not sure. You can also go ahead and upgrade these fighters, not that they necessarily need it. That makes their character model look a little bit different. That's interesting. So he's trying to bomb this one from here. I see why it's taking damage. There's no way Reykjavik's supply extends all the way to that mountain. He complained about something like this to me in PMs. He said that he didn't understand something and he might have gotten a unit killed. I'm pretty sure it's this one because it's been attriting literally nonstop. I think he moved it to try to attack this sub because he knew where it was, and he didn't consider the spread of supply. And now it's probably just stuck there dying. So that's a good thing for me, I suppose. Let's go ahead and move the first garrison over here to Kajani, where it can kind of watch out for that. We didn't really get this fully taken care of. I guess we'll want to. Reinforcements just to get it fully up to strength, make him go on any offensives for right now, I suppose. Not that I wouldn't mind attacking a special forces that's up in front, but there's also the Suama Salmi Corps. We want to get that 88 MPPs to get it up to snuff as soon as possible. That's crazy. Germany finished a whole lot of research, so we're not going to be affording any like units or anything right now, but I did purchase a whole lot of like garrisons and a maritime bombers coming up as well to kind of maintain over here. We did have this fighter that was going over there. I don't even know where it really needs to go, like here or here. I say right here for now. Odense. Yeah, I mean, maybe that'll work. I'm not really sure. We cannot possibly start all this new research all at once. It all just finished at the same time, one at a time. And I think indie tech, as we take over more indie base, would be probably pretty useful. Let's go ahead. 150 MPPs on indie tech. Get that researching. Just kind of slowly added in there again. Moscow has fallen. And now a lot of his units are kind of trapped. He did try to go on the offensive here to attack, hurt. I don't really know what his goal was, really, with the Hungarian Corps. I never really know what his goals are when he attacks. In most instances, like, sometimes it's obvious. Like, he tries to kill a unit and push into Finland and take it over. That part's obvious to me. He tries a bombing run on an oil field, but he uses the wrong unit. But I know what he's doing. He's trying to stop me from getting oil, duh. But like this, I don't really know what the goal of that attack was. Was he trying to kill this Hungarian Corps? I think I theorized that he might attack this one because it was a corps, it was in a field, and it was an easy target. But I didn't expect him to go so hard into it because that's what an AI would do. He does sometimes play a lot like an AI. Although I think that only started when he went long enough without killing anything and he decided he really needed to kill something. I think that's when that started. I think that's when the AI play style began. I think that's what we're experiencing. We still have 425 MPPs remaining as Germany after that. That's not a lot, really. Supply is pretty pressed over here. It's not doing too great, but we can easily move to take Tbilisi. Conquer that town. I thought he'd try to defend it, but he really kind of didn't. I don't understand the focus of his defense. I mentioned this last turn. I really don't understand it. I don't know what his goals are here. Because I would have thought he would have tried to protect all this oil because it's so valuable. Not to mention the path that leads into Iran and leads to more oil. This is so much of his money for the USSR and for the UK. And I feel like it's been left pretty undefended. Let's go ahead and move the 2nd Cavalry up to scout out that oil. There's nothing really. Let's move this one up to scout out. I mean, look at this, man. There's nothing here. Nothing on the oil. We just took Baku North oil. It's 15 MPPs for us right now. That's at half strength. It's 30 at full strength if we can get it there. Let's just keep going this way, huh? Right? And then Baku is completely undefended as well. I don't understand. Every one of these towns is worth some amount of MPPs, so there's value in going for literally all of them, but the HQ can only get so far. We'll move it as far as it can get right now, but it's not going to be amazing. We're kind of pushed pretty thin here. We're not very well set up for literally anything. This all needs to meet up somewhere, and I assume moving down towards Baku is the best idea. Turkey's neutral, that we don't really have to worry about that. A push down through here towards Tehran makes the most sense. And then if we take Tehran, there's no partisans to worry about there. Then theoretically the Soviet version of Persia here, which I guess, well, no, this is just Persia in general. This was annexed by the UK. This is occupied. This would quote unquote surrender, meaning we would liberate it. And if, Germany stepping on it, Germany would be liberating Persia, meaning we get access to Persian units. Let's go ahead and move the 2nd Romanian army over to Grozny. Move this army just as far as we can get right here. We're on a roll. The Romanians are able to push down pretty easily. These Romanian fighters have come in handy as a defensive fixture. I'll go ahead and just reinforce them for now. They're fine enough where they are. Oh great. I've already forgotten about... Alright, well you can make it there. About a partisan point. That was quick. That was fast. It's alright, we can salvage this. Oh, fucking shit. As soon as this autosave decides to be done with me. Thank you. We can salvage this. This is salvageable. We just need to move this boy onto... It doesn't have to be my cop. It can be Krasnodar. That probably even makes more sense. It's behind a river. Krasnodar. Then we'll move this anti-tank over to Grozny. There you go. There is this to worry about, but we do still have an extra garrison or two. Let's take the garrison I have on Hamburg and operate that so that it goes over here, replacing that one that was just there. And then we have this anti-air here. We do have more fighters that we might need to utilize as well. This anti-air is going to be annoying. Alright, I'm going to move the 1st Hungarian army forward. This is not the healthiest position for supply, but we're going to be moving around, so, I mean, we'll see. I'm going to do a prepared attack with this corps, cross the river against the anti-tank. We dealt 4 damage, we took 2, so we took more damage than expected, but we also dealt more damage than expected, so... I feel like the rolls have not been as kind to me recently. We're then just going to move the hell out of here so that that thing can't die. We're going to move up with this army here, and we'll have better odds if we choose to attack again. This time it's an army, though, but blitz attacks. I think I'll take it, probably. We're also going to move this HQ forward. And, I mean, supply is not going to get too much more amazing, but it's going to get better. 4 more damage and 1 damage, so we dealt a little bit of extra damage. We took the expected damage. Blitz attack, we dealt 1 damage, took 1 damage. We weren't supposed to take any, so that, you know, wasn't the greatest. Still, his anti-air is pretty neutered. If I chose to, say, bomb it, I could wipe it out with a fucking bomber, quite frankly. Now, that would be kind of weird to do. I don't know if I even really want to do that, but it's a potentially decent way. Or it's mostly ignorable at the very least, I assume. He also has these tactical bombers very visible to me. And if I remember correctly, there's good reason to bomb enemy bombers that you can see. So actually, let's see what happens if we use the straight shooter tactical bombers against his bombers. We dealt 4 damage and we took none. And his fighters are maybe too injured to have decided to do anything. So that works out pretty well. Wiping out the Cossack Farmer Corps isn't going to be too crazy. And now that he's lost his anti-air, I think he might be a little more cautious. I don't really know what to do about these other guys on the other side of the river there. Supply for us is not too amazing on that side, but there are tempting targets there. The most damage can be done to this core, however, and that's probably the main thing I want to be able to kill this turn. I'm not trying to push a super aggressive push here on Stalingrad, but we'll see. We'll go ahead and I think we'll just bomb the Cossack Farmer Corps. Dealing 3 damage. That's more than I expected. This is now set to do 5. I think I'll just bomb it again. There you go. 2 damage dealt, none taken. And then it's going to be pretty simple to just wipe out the Cossack Farmer Corps within attack by an army. And then the army can move up, pressing the border forward. Nice and fine. We're just going to reinforce the blue tanks there, get them back up to strength because, again, I don't really want to push this too aggressively. Reinforce this core right here as well. Get that up to strength. What's supply look like here? It's pretty good. Good enough to move up for sure, I think. Good enough for sure. Yeah, so we'll move you this way. We'll move you this way. I'm not sure about anything else. We just have all these guys in, like, one spot. It's somewhat unnerving, I suppose. I'll move you right there, though. We'll get you guys all together. I don't know if we need to keep these fighters ready at all. This recording is actually really sporadic, because I'm messaging Travis a lot while I record it. And so I keep pausing the recording, because we're talking about things that are happening on this turn. And I'm teaching him more about LOS mechanics, because he was unaware that coasts, for example, could spot things. And he was also unaware that I could see the subs that were here, so I taught him about how, like, your naval spotting can spot any ship, including subs, whether that's from a coast, a plane, or anything. So I'm teaching him how some mechanics of the game works. One thing that I learned from our conversations that I wasn't already aware of is the fact that apparently he can make Peru capitulate by having the port blockaded. I didn't know that was a thing. The strategy guide, checking it, it does say that the Allies can blockade Peruvian ports. However, there's only one Peruvian port, and I assume that was for MPPs, not for surrender. So maybe Peru will just capitulate randomly, and that's all there will be to it. Who knows? I'm not sure. I think we could very easily kill the Tula Gunsmith's core with a simple infantry attack, so I'm just going to go for it. Yeah, there you go. 6 damage, no damage taken. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. The Southern Defense Force Corps is not entrenched. It has bad readiness, morale, and bad supply. The Vladivostok Corps has experience and other things that are, I guess, more concerning. There's very limited things to bomb right now anyway. Let's go ahead and go for the Vladivostok Corps. That is the obvious larger threat. We've dealt 2 damage, and now it's kind of in the same position as the Southern Defense Corps, but the Southern Defense Corps is definitely more vulnerable still. We'll just go for full bombing on the Vladivostok Corps. Get that entrenchment down, make it as easy to kill as possible. We'll reinforce the SG tactical bombers. Probably, well, maybe. We'll have to see about, like, Gorky over here, for example. The push is going to have to drive east on Kubyshev. He's not turning to me over here. He's staying on Finland. Finland is enough to keep him distracted for right now, so that's good. So I definitely would like to push in that direction. A blitz attack from Moscow, sorry, a prepared attack, seems definitely good enough to go ahead and, well, not fully wipe out. Didn't say we would wipe it out, but deal some pretty damn fine damage to the enemy Vladivostok Corps. I can, for example, take the 14th Army and move them still. I've also just now taught Travis about the food mechanics for Germany, how Germany gets food from Paris, Copenhagen, Hungary, Romania, and Yugoslavia, and Ukraine, and I don't think there's anywhere else. Yeah, no, that's it. They get food from there, and not having access to those can lose Germany MPPs. I just taught him about that too, because the game really doesn't teach you anything about that, so I just figured I would. Let's go ahead and move this up to Vladimir. I was hoping that would, like, recon up there, but it really didn't. It really just didn't. I'd love to get an HQ onto Moscow as soon as possible, so just kind of driving through here would probably be ideal in any circumstance. I feel like, I'm trying to think, like, what would I actually want to move up there? Well, elite reinforcements would be great. You know, I'd be thinking, like, well, let's take these tanks and go send them over there. I think I'll just send the army. There's also the possibility, actually, of sending a corps. Corps, definitely doable. This is 4. I don't know if this would be 4. Is that on a road? That's on a road. A corps could definitely be doable. This 8th Army can only get so far right now, so moving it up here wouldn't change too much. Let's go ahead and just move it up there then, and we'll see what we can do with a corps, I think, actually. That would be easier. Not this corps, though. This corps has other things to do. Let's send this corps around to a blitz attack, see if we go wipe out that enemy unit right there. And we did, in fact, wipe out that enemy unit. That's good. Vladimir is pretty all right. Nothing we have can really reach Gorky at the moment. And supply projections don't look too hot, but... And yeah, an army can't get up there. Let's just send this army over here. We'll send the corps a little bit further forward just to get it kind of moving in that direction. We'd be able to easily get von Rundstedt, not von Manstein, but von Rundstedt anyway, onto Moscow, which doesn't have a lot of supply, but it's in a pretty important location for bouncing supply anyway. At some point, we're going to need, some dedicated garrisons for up here, but that's part of what I'm recruiting. In fact, that might be why I have this anti-tank here to begin with. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, and for Ryazan, stuff like that. Yeah, makes sense. Let's go ahead and move on Rundstedt forward, which will change supply for the better, leaning over in this direction. It's much better. It's going to be so much better in this direction now. Now we can take the 10th Army, and let's move it up. No, it's now next to this. We could probably bomb this one still. I was going to reinforce, but you know what? Let's bomb this one. Killing Soviet units is important in the long run, and now that doesn't really change the blitz attack, but we'll take what blitz attack we can. 4 damage dealt, none received. It's at 3 and stuck in the woods now. probably without access to supplies to begin with. Just about anything else that I send up there would be the death of this thing. Let me scout out the Uralsk really quick. Okay, he does have a unit there. I wasn't sure if he would, or if I knew, then I didn't remember that he had a unit over there. Okay, he's blocking like every route. I don't know how he has so many units. I really don't. Let's do another like recon attempt. Yeah, he's kept that anti-tank at Kazan. That makes a lot of sense, quite frankly. That makes a whole lot of sense. And so we'll just move this back. I just wanted to do a check to see, because I didn't know if this would be the same anti-tank that was over here, or if he would have moved this one or what. And this is here trying to block the road, but that just means we have to avoid sending tanks down that path. If the tanks all come from this direction, I don't think he'll have anything that he can do against them. Recon is a valuable thing sometimes. I guess that just means that the armies need to be the ones going around in this region, pushing eastwards, potentially, you know, in the direction of Perm. The order that we take these in isn't too crazy. We just have to kill as many units as possible as we push. Let's go ahead and wipe out with a blitz attack the remaining enemy core that's over here. Thankfully taking no damage, thankfully unifying most of this over here. And let's see what supply looks like. I mean, not too amazing. This core can definitely do with some recovery time. And I'm going to take this core, move it up here to Yaroslavl. It is worth some NPP, so I thought I'd go ahead and take a peek, claim this for myself. We might go even further. I'd love to. If I could actually reach either of these cities, I can cut his rail line so that he'd be isolated over here completely, and none of these units would ever get east, and no units from the east could ever get west. But we'll have to have one more available turn to pull that off, because no units, absolutely no units, can make it quite that far. This core is like just fully ready to go. We'll just move it down here, claim the rest of this rail line for myself. Having this rail line for myself is pretty important, because realistically, the HQs are going to take a minute to get over there. I don't know if they should run. I don't know if they should operate. But having the option is going to be pretty useful. The option to just suddenly start moving very, very quickly. Especially given that it's July and we are going to need to be moving really, really quickly. In fact, I am so tempted to just operate Von Lieb to Penza and send any other super healthy units over here towards there. But there are certain units like the tanks that just flat out could use some upgrades, for example, or even elite reinforcements. Like this one can reinforce. I'm gonna get full to 10 reinforcements on that. They all have access to some better anti-tank or well, tank tech now. And if I did move an HQ forward, they could at least get their upgrades in pretty soon. We know he's moved some units eastwards, but they might be peacefully, like, slowly moving. If I were to operate some units off in that direction, it would certainly be a good thing. Getting this anti-tank on Ryazan was always part of the plan, so we're going to get that anti-tank over to Ryazan. Some of these things I think I will operate, though, the more I look at it. We'll just move you up here for right now. We'll operate Von Lieb. 36 MPPs to operate Von Lieb up to Penza. We already have a lot of other units over here anyway. And into Kubyshev and towards Perm in general is going to be the direction we want to get a 27 MPP operation of my elite army here that's ready to go so that he's fully blocked off and protected over there. How does that affect supply over here? Because I know that it will. Not to a beautiful situation for Moy, but not entirely terrible. Yeah, there's not many places for these to go. They need to move east, definitely. I'll just leave you here on this city for right now, where you'll have 5 supply anyway, so that shouldn't really be of too much concern. Some things need to move east, some things need to kind of stay where they are. There's not a lot of movement capability. You can move there right now. That will be within 6 supply, which is a good amount of supply. And then this injured one, of course, needs to stay where the supply is. And it's at a place that will have supply. I might move it north so it's the only one that can really maybe hit Gorky, but it's got to reinforce anyway. No real big rush there. I'll go for the advanced tanks level 3. That doesn't change the appearance of it, sadly. Get level 3 advanced tanks on this one. That's probably more important than trying to find elite reinforcements or anything. And probably important enough to hold back on rapidly advancing from that side anyway. Long-range aircraft and advanced fighters over here seems very useful given how much of the front is relying on this singular plane. It looks a little bit different when you get it to that level of upgrade. A little bit different. What's supply gonna look like over here now that we have another HQ in this region? Not amazing. Definitely not amazing. I'd love to get advanced tanks down here as well. Honestly, looking at it, even though one HQ over here wouldn't be enough, if we could operate to Saratov, we could really have a front line going very quickly. Very quickly. Like, exceptionally so. In a very meaningful way. So, let's see. Let's do a little bit of recon out in this direction. Alright, it's pretty empty. Yeah, alright, we're gonna do it. Von Manstein, you're shifting east to Saratov for another 30 MPPs. Skip several turns of traveling time. HQ will buff it up from 6 to 10 supply. Saratov has good supply, which is why this is definitely worth doing in my eyes, so long as we can keep Saratov protected anyway. So tell you what we'll do here. We're going to form like a little bit of a front, methinks, around Saratov before striking out, because we're going to want to get ready to strike out, obviously. Supply's looking good. We just need to get a like coalition of forces here ready to move. So I'm going to move the 2nd Corps up along the Volga. I guess it's the Volga River here. Move that up along the Volga, kind of solidify my position here. We're going to move this back. Maybe he thinks that I'm retreating a little bit. He won't be able to see this from there. So move the linebreaker tanks forward for right now, then we don't really have to pay for them right now either. I do wonder if Orenburg is protected. That's not something I really have the leeway of seeing though. So we'll move this core back. So we got a front line around von Manstein now. The HQ focus is definitely shifted. So any air over here might have a little more problems. Good thing I put one, you know, where this is. This fighter can definitely do with moving up. Von Bock's not really needed exactly where he is. He will need to move up with the rest of the forces. He could move up to Ryazan as a temporary measure, since we've gotten something else closer over here, and then in the direction of Penza with the rest of these units. That could be a thing. Yeah, sure. Let's move you over here, actually. Move you up to Ryazan. There you go. Move this anti-tank up here. This is going to be its final destination where it is going to linger. Move this core just casually down the road. It'll be in supply to get some reinforcements next turn. I already checked. And then that is basically most of what these units can do. I'm going to move this fighter over to Ryazak. I think that's still in range of basically everything it needs to be in range of. Have it, you know, still moving up. It needs to get some upgrades still, but we only have 180 MPPs remaining, so anything we can do right now that's a movement and not an expenditure is going to be particularly useful. As I've mentioned, there's a lot of other things that need attention, but we're pretty limited. I'm going to operate the 7th garrison here. This is just one of those other extra garrisons I have. We're going to send that over to Saratov, because Saratov is going to need one eventually. Well, either towards Saratov or towards Grozny. They're both going to need this kind of stuff, and potentially pretty quickly. Saratov will need it probably not as quickly. So let's operate over down towards Mykop then, and get this moving towards like Baku, Tbilisi area. And it can move towards there. 177 MPPs remaining, and even though, again, there's a lot of things I could use, I think what I'll use this on is to keep up a little more aggressively on my research. There's a couple of good options here. A couple of very important options here, like tanks and subs especially. I think I'm going to prioritize subs because they're a little far behind and they're getting easier to kill. So let's get the sub research going. That only leaves me with 27 MPPs. 27 MPPs that are not too crazy, but maybe, let's say, just enough to get these fighters having long-range aircraft too. They don't really need it, but we don't have enough for the other thing. We're going to move the Coast Guard sub here over to Las Palmas so we can get the advanced subs level 2 researching as soon as possible, because we're going to have a lot of subs lining up, not just to get supply, but to also get advanced subs level 2 as soon as possible. And with that, I think we're done with Germany. If I've missed anything, I'll find it later. We are out of time for this episode, so I'm going to call this one here. For now, thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll continue this turn on the next episode.